You deserve the best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
XM Politics brings you the best in conservative talk radio on SiriusXM Patriot. Breitbart News Daily, The David Webb Show, The Will Count Majority, Stacey on the Right, Just the News Radio, Sonny's Corner, The Morgan Ortega Show, Breitbart News Saturday, Breitbart News Weekend, and more. Find it all on SiriusXM Patriot. To hear SiriusXM Patriot, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
Filled with ad-free music made for everything you do, mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
Deadpool and Wolverine. Can you imagine the fun?
Join Jess Cagle for a Deadpool Party Town Hall with Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and the director and cast of the summer's most anticipated film, Deadpool and Wolverine. The multiverse just got a whole lot more complicated.
You mind putting your mask back on? It's super hard to eat while I'm wearing it. Super hard to eat when you're not.
That's a town hall with the stars and director of Deadpool and Wolverine. Listen anytime on the SiriusXM app.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. Let's see. You gotta get this. You gotta get this. Let's see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. 018-868-68.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe, and that would include you. Parlez-vous français? Bonjour. I love that because that's all the French I knew. I want to say today is a beautiful Friday, the 26th of July, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers. Home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard in the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide, like the Seine River. And some people call it the Seine River from United States, but in Paris they call it the Seine River. The River of Sin, with all those athletes. Hopefully they don't take it literally, if that makes sense to you. I'm telling you, what a great day in Demdale Hills, California. I really do appreciate the fact that the Olympics started across the pond in Paris, France, and now, of course, they're ahead of us in time. But I know there's a lot of great athletes all over the world that are doing the best they can to bring home that gold medal. And hopefully they'll have success in bringing home the gold medal. I want to bring home the gold medal, too, You can follow Big C Sports. As I say, I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all have more laughter in our lives. I know I need more laughter. And then the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. And then I do the play-by-play. USA! 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 Do you believe in miracles in your life? Get the hole! Going to be a lot of good athletes over there in Paris, France. It rained actually for the opening ceremony. Lady Gaga was she was singing. Celine Dion, a lot of great entertainers were over there performing. And I look forward to seeing what happens. I'll have to watch it delayed because obviously it's on a way ahead of the time that we are in the United States. But it's okay. I want to wish the best for our athletes. May the USA win. USA, USA, USA. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City and streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Number 10, I never missed a show since doing Big C Sports back in the day with the crew. And now we have people who miss practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice, people missing practice. But I will not miss practice. And I wish our Olympic athletes the very, very best. What I do want to offer that I do on every show is a PSA for the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and they really are experienced helping people, especially veterans and their loved ones, get the help they need. You know, anybody going through issues, it's one thing to say, I thank you for your service. But if you learn this number and you know people are going through issues, you can call the number for them, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And it's nice when somebody's leaning back. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be light. I want to shine light on the world, and that's what I do with Big C Sports Podcast. I love so many things about seeing the Olympics, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. But that, I don't want it to be the agony of my feet. That's why sometimes I gotta wear one of those shoe softeners, because I got flat feet. And the doctor said it will help you with the arch in your feet, like the arch of the in Paris, France, where you have the Eiffel Tower. That arch. I'm telling you, there's so many things that you realize in the world of sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. When people have the chance to compete for something, it may not be easy to win, but you have a chance to compete. And when you look at competition around the world, the Olympics, if only politics can be this way, the Olympics has fierce competitors from all across the world, and they get together to try to win something. They try to win a gold medal. If not a gold, they get a silver. If not a silver, they get a bronze. They only give out three medals, but they don't fight each other. They shake hands after it's over. Of course, fierce competition, they shake hands after it's over. And I hope that we can learn that in this country as we're going through an election year. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I do want to say what I love about Big C Sports Podcast is I'm always paying homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I'm going to do that. But at the same time, I want to do a commercial for what I'm doing with Big C Sports Podcast and the RDC team. And then I want to play some excerpts from the Olympics. And then I also want to talk about some things that happened for the history of the Olympics. An amazing competition, an amazing show of power, and seeing all the athletes on the boat that were going down the Seine River, or the Seine River. But the Seine River, hopefully there's nobody doing sin on that boat, if that makes sense to you. But I do appreciate when people can get together from all over the world and they can celebrate for their native country. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to also do my part of the Olympic competition. It's my story, and I'm going to do the best I can. They say faith comes by hearing. So I have been working on this infomercial, and some people say it's more like a movie, Big C. It goes on and on and on and on. And that's okay that it goes on and on and on and on. If you want something in life, I heard from a meeting that I went to last week it's called one of the most significant attributes of Nichiren Buddhism is easily accessible practicing of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Yo, Nam Myoho Renge Yo, Nam Myoho Renge Yo. It said it's a profound yet simple method of Buddhist practice. It's a perfect Buddhist chant for teaching in the modern world. And no matter what you believe in, prayer, chanting, whatever you happen to do to get yourself in a state of mind to achieve things, by all means necessary. What did Malcolm X say? By any means necessary. I have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the Law Office of Scott Thibodeau and the Law Office of Attorney George Jones, The Missing Link, Long-Term Care, Solutions by the Book, over 3 decades of experience, helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and You in California, and also Taking Care of Tomorrow in California is called Medi-Cal, and other places around the country is called Medicaid, if that makes sense to you. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options are promised to you. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And we'll help you specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without the spend down. That's what they're trying to do over in Paris, France. Protect the assets of their native countries, if that makes sense to you. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists. But not only that, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, medical equipment costs, and more. Not only that, protection of your assets, if that makes sense to you, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. You know, I've been saying many times, I'm auditioning for some movies. Now, I'm a Trekkie. I believe in the USS Starship Enterprise, and I also am a believer in Star Wars, where they have the Federation, and they're always trying to take over people. So I was saying the USS Enterprise on this 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man has gone before. May lightning strike! It sounds like thunder when they hit warp drive. So they were cruising around the galaxy. It was Captain Kirk, it was Spock, and it was also Scotty. They were on the bridge of the USS Starship Enterprise, and they came out of hyperspace, and they came upon this big, beautiful, black, shiny planet. And then Pope said, build the wall! Build the wall! And Captain Kirk said, there's no wall in space, but that's a peculiar looking planet. It's blinking, and I've never seen a planet move so fast, if that makes sense to you. And then Captain Kirk said, Scotty, raise the shields. And Scotty said, Captain, it's just a shiny planet. And Spock said, yes, Captain, that's illogical. It's only a black shiny planet. He said, are you out of your vulgar mind? Raise the shields. And he said, but Captain Kirk, it's such a beautiful black shiny planet. Raise the shields. But Captain Kirk, are you sure we should raise the shields on a beautiful black shiny planet? And he said, please, are you out of your fucking mind? Raise the shields. And then they heard over the intercom, do not raise the shields. This is a command from Starfleet. This is Captain Darth Vader. And I have specific commands to tell you, do not raise those shields. Make sure you lower the shields. And Captain Kirk said, how do you know our name? And he said, I use the Force. I use the Force. In fact, the Federation told me your name. Do not raise the shields. And Captain Kirk said, Scotty, raise the shields. And Scotty said, well, Captain, he said he's from the Starfleet. He said, Scotty, are you out of your fucking mind? And Spock said, well, Scotty, maybe you should raise the shields. And then Darth Vader said, you have a command from Starfleet. Do not raise the shields. I am your father. I want you to join the dark side. I want you to do it now. In fact, I have a couple of robots I'll give you if you don't raise the shields. R2-D2 and C-3PO. And Captain Kirk said, Scotty, raise the shields. And Darth Vader said, I am your father. Do not raise the shields. Join the dark side. And Captain Kirk said, you're not my dad. And Scotty said, yeah, my dad ran away a long time ago. And Spock said, yeah, my dad's green. And you're black. And Captain Kirk said, raise the shields. Are you out of your fucking mind? They decided to raise the shields right before the Death Star was tried to take down with that big laser beam the USS Starship Enterprise, and they got into warp speed. And they lived to see another day because they learned to trust his instinct. Protection of your assets is what the Enterprise was doing, including your home or even a spaceship, thereby allow you to leave a legacy for your family. Avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program can be from 10 to 40%. And if you don't have a will, you got to believe that the courts will have a will for you, and you will not like it. That's why you got to have a trust to protect your assets, if that makes sense to you. A one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. But not only that, I'm not done yet. What does a trust do for asset protection? The protection is insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. It protects your fixed assets, your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, your money market accounts, your certificates of deposit, your life insurance with cash values, your fixed index annuities. It also protects your variable assets, your real estate. It protects that. Also your spaceship. It also protects your qualified money, IRAs, 401ks, other investments. Avoid capital gains. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000. And then 1 year later, that house appreciates to $1 million. Well, that's a $900,000 in capital gains. You avoid the capital gains when you have a trust. Attention business owners. Attention business owners. Do not lower your shields. Do not lower your shields. Raise the shields on the audio Vulcan line. Attention business owners. If you don't have a trust, like Captain Kirk said, on the audio Vulcan line. You know, Spock was a Vulcan. You can find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you. If you don't have a trust, you must be out of your fucking mind. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You know, also, when people tell you that you got to have a trust, or you should listen to a company that says, why would we go through you? My best friend, he also does trust. And he not afraid of Darth Vader. And I ask him, nothing wrong with that, but the RDC team with Big C Sports is maybe one of the only asset protection companies in the universe that will give you a references. Some companies don't give you references because they don't have them. We have the reference of the late Jim Gomez, who advised 4 California governors and led change in California nursing homes. And then he served on Golden One's board of directors. Did his thing with the California Association of Health Facilities, Sacramento, California, the CEO for California Association of Health Facilities, 21 years. He endorsed the RDC team. That's important. You got to realize when people at that stature endorse your product, that says a lot. Also, the late Robert Carlson, who was the top legal mind for CalPERS, he endorsed the RDC team, and you got to realize not many people can say that. But not only that, we have Mr. George Jones, Esquire, the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. He endorsed the RDC team. Also, we have Mr. Scott Thibodeau, attorney at law, one of the top estate planners in Northern California. He endorses the RDC team. Also, Mr. Leon Woods, resource development consulting, works with many of the top lobbyists in California. He endorsed the RDC team. Also, Miss Cheryl Brown, she's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorses the RDC team. Not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of RDC, resource development consultant. He endorses the RDC team, over 34 years doing this thing. But not only that, we have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veteran Benefits. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Charlton Curry, co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project, and also consultant for the RDC team. But not only that, owner of Big C Sports Podcast. I endorse the RDC team. But not only that, we have Double O. She's the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She endorses the RDC team. But not only that, she's a consultant for the RDC team. But not only that, has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can Google it on Access Sacramento. She endorses the RDC team. You got to give that awesome praise. I said give it praise, 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 because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And all I ask is whatever you do, give us a chance to look at it. Need a copy of your insurance declaration page, and oftentimes we can tell you if you have a good thing or if we can do a better job for you. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And just like the Olympics, you want to put forward your best foot, and I love doing that. And you know, I'm also auditioning for Star Trek. That's why I have the USS Starship Enterprise and also the Death Star. in my infomercial featuring Big C Sports, featuring Captain Kirk, featuring Scotty, and also featuring Spock. And of course, you can't leave out Darth Vader. Put those shields down. And that's what a lot of business owners are listening to when they don't have a trust. They're waiting for someone to come and kill, steal, and destroy. You gotta have a trust. Are you out of your fucking mind if you don't have a trust? Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say now I'm one of the only sports shows in the universe that champions reparations on every show, from sea to shining sea. And I'm hoping they'll take heed at the Olympics, because the world's coming together and realizing there's a lot of egalitarianism that's going on around the Olympics. It'd be nice to try to make things right for countries that have been deprived of their inalienable rights. Some of their citizens, the citizens of chattel slavery from 1619 to 1865. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to give some praise to the California Reparations Task Force, because no one else does but Big C Sports. I challenge you to find it on any sports show, or really any other news show, if that makes sense to you. I want to give praise to the inimitable Dr. Shirley Weber. She's the Secretary of the State of California. I want to give praise to California Governor Gavin Newsom. He also helped mandate the task force. And also I want to give praise to the chair. Her name is Camila Moore, attorney. And she also specializes in reparative justice. I love giving her praise. You know, she photobombed one of my pictures at the Reparations Task Force. She got a photobomb the Big C Sports Podcast. Got to get it on the program before the election. I want to give praise to Dr. Emerson C. Brown. He's the vice chair of the California Reparations Task Force. He's also appeared on Big C Sports Podcast. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to the senator, the number one senator, in my opinion, in the universe, California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's part of the California Reparations Task Force. As you see sports happening, coming up, college football kicking off next month, we have name, image, and likeness that allows student athletes to get paid on the name, image, and likeness. It was California Senator Stephen Bradford. He crafted that bill. But not only that, we have the Ebony Alert that he crafted also that allows law enforcement to put the same amount of resources into finding missing black children as the Amber Alert puts into finding missing white children. You wouldn't think they would need to, but they do. I love giving him praise. He's also part of the California Reparations Task Force. I liken him to Moses. When Moses met God, and God told Moses, he said, go down into Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses said, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. And he went down there and talked to Pharaoh, and it ultimately worked. And it's a lot like Senator Bradford. When God told Senator Bradford, he said, go down into the state capitol and tell the Senate and the legislators to pass reparations. And Senator Bradford said to God, he said, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. You know, they're passing Senate bills 1331, 1403, and 1050, even against some of the odds that people said it might not happen, because there's good people in California of all colors that are part of that. And I love giving Senator Bradford praise. I would love them to acknowledge him at the Olympics, and especially in our sports leagues around the country, if that makes sense to you. I want to give praise to Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I'm going to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I'm going to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. She specializes in diversity, equity, and inclusion. That Project 2025 wants to do away with, and they're telling you, and that's a shame. They don't want any diversity. But we do. Diversity is good. Look at the Olympics. The Olympics is so diverse. Why would you want to do away with diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States? I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. A professor at California, Berkeley. I want to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. As a Japanese American, his ancestry got reparations for the internment camp, but they were unjustly put in the internment camps, and no one agrees that should have happened. So the United States paid reparations for it. Just like the Just Act. United States Department of Justice and the government of Germany, they helped create reparations for descendants of Holocaust, because it was the just thing to do. You can Google it, the Just Act. And we're asking the United States Department of Justice to do the same thing for reparations in the United States. Because if it's right for one people, it's right for all people. And that's what I'm hoping for, because we got to put our heads together the same way we cheer for the Olympics and we chant, USA, USA, USA. Let's chant the right thing for all people. I want you to hear the greatest speaker in the history of the country when it comes to reparations and why you should support it too.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them he murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
Reparations now, reparations forever. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. You heard the great, inimitable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to talk about reparations. And I hope that good people around the world will do the right thing, do the just thing for descendants of child slavery. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And now, back by popular demand, I know people care about the Olympics because it really is where the world comes together, and we're going to play some sound from the Olympics coming up.
4 years of dedication, everything comes down to this moment. Australia has been unbelievable. The greatest female swimmer of all time. Wow. Congrats, Simone Biles.
She continues to amaze us every single time she competes.
May lightning strike! Let's get ready to rumble! The opening of the 2024 Olympics in beautiful Paris, France, as the United States take the boat down the Seine River, or as Americans call it, the Seine River. And there's a beautiful spectacle, but it did rain. Lots of rain in Paris, France today, but it's not going to stop the pomp and pageantry of the great athletes appearing in Paris to try to win for their country.
Here's everything you need to know about tuning in to the 2024 Paris Olympics. The 2024 Paris Olympics are set to begin on July 26th on NBC and Peacock, and the final preparations are underway to kick off this year's Summer Games. The Games begin on July 26th with the opening ceremony and last for 2 weeks, concluding on August 11th with the closing ceremony. Live coverage of the opening ceremony begins July 26th on NBC and Peacock beginning at 12 p.m. ET. Telemundo will provide Spanish-language coverage beginning at 1 p.m. ET before primetime coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. ET on NBC and Peacock. The star-studded opening ceremony will feature Kelly Clarkson, NFL legend Peyton Manning, and Sunday Night Football announcer Mike Tirico hosting the festivities. As for the rest of the games, NBC will offer at least 9 hours of daytime coverage of the most exciting events, including gymnastics, swimming, and track and field. NBC will also deliver an enhanced Olympics primetime show each night, providing 3 hours of must-see entertainment. In addition, every event from the Paris Olympics will be broadcast live on Peacock, which will be home to an innovative 2024 Olympics hub with interactive features, updated athlete standings, and more. Olympic highlights with Kevin Hart and Kenan Thompson, Peacock's weekly series hosted by the duo, will recap the 2024 Olympics' best and most unexpected moments with hilarious commentary from the two legendary comedians. And if that's still not enough, Watch with Alex Cooper, hosted by Call Her Daddy podcast host Alex Cooper, will be a series of live interactive watch parties streaming on Peacock. NBC, and Peacock are all part of the NBC Universal family.
Let's get ready to rumble! The 2024 Olympics from Paris, France. Bonjour! I'll be back in just a moment.
As spectacular as advertised, on a rainy night in Paris, the first ever floating opening ceremony featured a zip line to Notre Dame, a light show at the Eiffel Tower,
Bonsoir,
and performances by Lady Gaga and Celine Dion, returning to the stage after battling serious health issues, leading Team USA's vote through a downpour and down the Seine, flag bearers LeBron James and Coco Gauff. The atmosphere on board electric, if a little wet.
We're out here in Paris getting ready to go on our tour of the world.
Sprinter Noah Lyles sharing an inside look on social media. People gathering to watch on balconies and at parties. NBC News' Keir Simmons was along the route.
In the pouring rain, there's Team USA under the Eiffel Tower. There's so many of them.
While an estimated 300,000 spectators in 124 grandstands lined the Seine, some 45,000 police officers on hand. But today, Paris' security apparatus tested. Just hours before the opening ceremony, a massive coordinated attack targeting France's high-speed railways. French officials say it was an act of sabotage. Fiber optic cables at 3 locations were set on fire.
This is one of the main reasons why the French are calling this a massive attack. Look at all these people sitting here waiting for hours. They're looking up at the boards at trains that are not taking off, and the frustration is building.
It's quite paralyzed.
We're dependent on our train system.
2 senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News early intelligence indicates far leftist groups may be behind the attack. Repairs are now underway. Officials say travel for up to 800,000 people could be impacted through the weekend. But they insist the attack won't have a direct impact on the Olympics, which already have an unprecedented level of security. This was the scene earlier in the day.
The streets of Paris are a bit chaotic right now. Thousands of people trying to get into the opening ceremony. Police have it under control, but there are so many people. Intersections are being blocked. Some of these people have tickets, but many do not.
The Olympic spirit, though, winning out, ignited at one point by Snoop Dogg, one of the final torchbearers. Tonight, 2 French Olympians used that flame to light a giant floating Olympic cauldron shaped like a hot air balloon, marking the official start to the Paris Olympics. Tom Yamas, NBC News, Paris.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are taking a live look right now at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. We are just about 2.5 hours away from the start of the opening ceremony for the Summer Olympics. Now you can see, of course, we're hoping that thousands of people will be in that area because the bleachers in that area will start filling up very, very soon. Such a beautiful day it appears to be in Paris. Of course, the Olympic torch is also in its final stages before the games open. There's, the French breakdancing pioneer Pascal Blaise-Anzy incorporated the torch into a live performance before the relay continued by boat. And later, the relay paused for reflection at the Holocaust Memorial at a former internment camp. Our Anne-Marie Tiernan and Samantha Johnson are in Paris right now, catching up with local Olympians. They have a preview of what to expect for the opening ceremony.
Well, the 2024 Olympics in Paris. Wanted to bring you some of the live coverage by NBC and some of the commentating by Lester Holt. Mike Tirico, a lot of great entertainers, performers, reporters in Paris reporting on the Olympics. I really do appreciate being able to watch some of the events as they get started already across the pond, if that makes sense to you. But I do want to talk about some of the things that have happened in the world of Olympics. When you think about how great it is for the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, when I go back to what has started the Olympics, when I think about how great it is to have great athletes from all over the world that compete at the highest level, it's important, and I love bringing it to you. The games, the ancient Olympic Games, were primarily a part of a religious festival in honor of Zeus, the father of the Greek gods and goddesses. The festival and the games were held in Olympia. It's a rural sanctuary site. The model shown in the British Museum and photos are amazing. When I look at the Greeks that came to the sanctuary of Zeus at the Olympia and shared the same religious beliefs and spoke the same languages, and the athletes were all male citizens of the cities, staged from every corner of the Greek world, coming from as far away as Iberia, Spain in the west, and the Black Sea, Turkey in the east. The sanctuary was named in antiquity after Mount Olympus. In the glossary, you hear about Olympias, the highest mountain in mainland Greece. In Greek mythology, Mount Olympus was the home of the Greeks, the gods and the goddesses. The ancient Olympic Games began in the year 1776 BC, when the cook from the nearby city of Elias won the Stadion race, a foot race of 600 feet long, and the Stadion track at Olympia is shown, and many people have loved to see the pictures of that. According to some literary traditions, it was the only athletic event of the Games for the first 13 Olympic festivals, or until 724 BC. From 776 BC, the Games were held in Olympia every 4 years for almost 12 centuries. That's amazing when you look at the spirit of the Olympics, and contrary evidence, both literary and archaeological, suggests that the Games may have existed at Olympia much earlier than this date, perhaps as early as the 10th or 9th century BC. And what is that, you ask? A series of bronze tripods have been found at Olympia, some of which may date back to the 9th century BC, and it's been suggested that these tripods may in fact be prizes for some of the early events at Olympia. The marathon was not an event of the ancient Olympic Games. The marathon is a modern event that was first introduced in the modern Olympic Games in 1896 in Athens, Greece. A race from Marathon, northeast of Athens to the Olympic Stadium, a distance of some 40 kilometers. The race commemorates the run of ancient day runner who carried the news of the Persian landing at the Marathon in 490 BC to Sparta, a distance of 149 miles. In order to enlist help for the battle, according to the 5th century BC, ancient Greek historian Herodotus delivered the news to the Spartans the next day. The distance from the modern marathon was standardized as 26 miles, 385 yards, in 1908 when the Olympic Games were held in London. And then the distance was the exact measurement between Windsor Castle, the start of the race, and the finish line inside White City Stadium. Now, when you think about how the Olympics started, nudity at the Games, there are two stories relating to the question of nudity at the ancient Olympic Games. One story states that it was a runner that opposed wearing clothes in 720 BC was the first to run naked in the stadium race when he lost his shorts in the race. Another tradition is that it was the Spartans who introduced nudity to the Olympic Games in the 8th century BC, as it was a Spartan tradition. It is not clear if the very first recorded victory at Olympia was run in the nude, if that makes sense, in 776 BC. Whether they had shorts or not, it was still a great competition. It seems fairly clear that by the late 8th century, nudity was common for the male contestants. Now, from ancient to modern, although the ancient games were staged in Olympia, Greece from 776 BC through 393 AD, it took 1,503 years for the Olympics to return. The first modern Olympics were held in Athens, Greece in 1896. The man responsible for the rebirth was a Frenchman by the name of Baron Pierre de Coubertin, who presented the idea in 1874. His original thought was to unveil the modern games in 1900 in his native Paris, but delegates from 34 countries were so enthralled with the concept that they convinced him to move the games up to 1896, and Athens have served as the host ever since. The Olympic flame, the idea of the Olympic flame, or the torch, was first inaugurated in the 1928 Olympic Games in Amsterdam. There was no torch relay in the ancient Olympic Games. There were known, however, torch relays in other ancient Greek athletics facilities, and including those held in Athens. The modern Olympic torch relay was first instituted in the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin. It's amazing when you see the athletes from all over the world that get together from sea to shining sea. Really do appreciate athleticism and how sports can bring people together from sea to shining sea. No one can deny that athletics will create harmony in all people. It's one of the rare times that I think politicians get together and put down their swords to cheer on their country, if that makes sense to you. So which country has the most athletes at the 2024 Olympics? I'm going to give you a listen to some of the countries that are represented. The United States of America at the Paris Olympics has more athletes than any other country, nearly 600. That's quite a lot on one boat going down the Seine River. In the 2024 Summer Olympics getting underway Friday, historic opening ceremony and parade of nations officially marking the start of the highly anticipated games that include athletes from over 200 countries. According to the International Olympic Committee, the 2024 Paris Olympics will include over 10,500 athletes across 32 sports, 329 events over the course of the games running through August the 11th, which will be the culmination of the Olympics. Through the 2,203 National Olympic Committee athletes have been participating this year's Olympics in Paris. Some countries will be significantly more represented than others. Of the countries competing, just 33 have sent 100 or more athletes to the Olympics, with 12 countries being represented by 250 or more athletes. As of July 26th, I'm going to give you a countdown at the countries who are the most represented in Paris. It's a beautiful list. I'm going to take you on this list from 33 down to 1. Greece has 100 athletes. Turkey has 102 athletes. Romania has 106 athletes. Norway has 107. Mexico has 107. India has 110. The Czech Republic, 111. Serbia, 113 athletes. Sweden, 117. Denmark, 124. Switzerland, 127. Iceland, 134. Argentina, 136 athletes. The Ukraine, 140 athletes. South Korea, 141 athletes. Egypt, 148 athletes. South Africa, 149 athletes. Belgium, 165 athletes. Hungary, 170 athletes. New Zealand, 195 athletes. Poland, 210 athletes. The Netherlands, 258 athletes. Brazil, 274 athletes. Canada, 315 athletes. Great Britain, 327 athletes. Italy, 371 athletes. Spain, 383 athletes. China, 388 athletes. Japan, 403 athletes. Australia, 460 athletes. Germany, 428 athletes. France, 573 athletes. And the United States of America has 592 athletes. You got to give that some praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. There are a lot of great athletes that are competing to represent their countries, and I wish them all the best. I know that sports brings people together all over the world, not just in the United States of America, but all over the world, and you get the chance to see the Olympic competition and our best athletes around the globe that are competing for a chance to bring home a gold, a silver, or a bronze. And I am so grateful. I've been watching the Olympics since I was a young boy, and it's always something that makes you pause, and it brings everybody together. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I wish the very best for the United States and for every country that's competing. May they just have the very best of everything that it has to offer. I want to also talk about some of the other things, some of the entertainers, 2024 Paris Olympics updates. The great Celine Dion performed as an Olympic cauldron raised in balloons. Obviously, she's dealt with her own health issues, but being a champion, able to perform at the Olympics, I'm so grateful to be able to talk about the Olympics on Big C Sports Podcast. Despite a rainy forecast, the roughly 4-hour 2024 Paris Olympics opening ceremony, it went off without a hitch. And now on Big C Sports Podcast, I'm going to play some of the reports from other news stations around the world covering the Olympics. As you can see, from sea to shining sea, this great country, the United States of America, we have some great athletes that are participating at the Olympics. I would hope that the USA basketball team can bring home the gold. However, there are other countries. Canada is going to put a tough competition on the court. A lot of the other athletes from other countries, they have players that play in the NBA. So it's not as if it's going to be so easy for the United States to go in there and beat teams easily by 30 and 40 points, because they're playing oftentimes other great players that are also NBA basketball players representing their country. Look at Giannis Antetokounmpo for Greece. Obviously, one of the best players in the NBA, former NBA MVP. And then you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Canada. There are some great players that are going to be trying to win the gold medal for their own country. But in the United States, what I love about our great athletes, Steph Curry, he passed the mantle to LeBron James. Of course, LeBron James, the elder statesman of Team USA, and the athleticism and the greatness of these great men that have gone on to greatness on the court and also off the court. Really do appreciate seeing that for the United States of America. So I wish them all nothing but the best. May the best athletes win. Life is great. You get the chance to compete for something, and they're getting the chance to compete for that. May lightning strike if we don't win the gold medal for Team USA. USA! 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 Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You know, I love playing some of the sounds of some of my favorite athletes and entertainers, and also sports people. There's been a lot of talk about the upcoming media rights deals and what it means for the future of TNT's NBA studio show Inside the NBA, a program that has been a popular staple of major national NBA coverage for over 2 decades, and its standing might be on the rocks at the same time as people were wondering, will they come back? Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and then Ernie, but everyone's wondering what might happen to Ernie Johnson and the gang moving forward. It's not quite time to say it's over just yet. Inside the NBA, regardless of what happens with TV negotiations, TNT still has NBA rights for at least one more season, and talk of this show going off the air is a lot premature because they worked it out. And the Sports Business Journal reports today that the NBA will formalize new deals with ESPN, NBC, and Amazon this week. It also says that NBC will air a basketball night in America on Sunday after the NFL season. This means that next season will be the last for TNT and Inside the NBA. But it's not going away. For one more season, you still have the chance to watch it. That means that Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Shaquille O'Neal will be able to be together for at least one more year on TNT for the 2024 and 2025 season. Even if the network loses its long-term NBA rights again, a full season of shows is set to air for 2024-2025 season. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. May Lightning strike! I'm glad they're staying on. I don't watch it as much as I used to because I have my own things going on, but they actually have a great chemistry on that program Inside the NBA. And again, other programs are going to come too, but TV and streaming is taken away from a lot of the regular programming. Oftentimes you'll have the night program on your local news program and your local NBA basketball programs and NFL programs. But that one crew, they've been together for 2 decades, and I'm glad they're sticking it out. I'm glad they were able to negotiate some things that make it all better. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I also want to close out today with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to just say that this time of year, I remember growing up as a young boy when the USA hockey team, they defeated Russia. It said, "Do you believe in miracles?" It was great Al Michaels that called that hockey match. And for the first time in my life, I actually got into hockey. I love watching it. And one of the also great moments of the Olympics is watching some of our great boxers. Sugar Ray Leonard, when he was an Olympian, watching him perform, and you can see it on ABC, and actually it's ABC Sports back in the day. Nowadays, because the TV contracts are changing, it's on NBC, and even with all the streaming, it's hard to see all of the athletes that we would love to see. But for me, as someone who loves sports, I'm so proud that I saw a lot of the great boxers grow up in the Olympics. Even talking to the great August Wesley, who's been a coach for Cabo Verde, and their wrestling team in the Olympics, been on the Big C Sports Podcast. I know that sports guides this country. It's a thrill of victory. It's the agony of defeat. I love the fact that we have this great event in Paris in 2028. The Olympics will come back to the United States, and Los Angeles, Southern California, will be full of a lot of great athletes from all over the world. So no matter what you do, what country you're pulling for, I hope that young people can have that belief and that hope in this cynical world that we live in at times, that athletics will bring not only our country together, but the world together. And you will see that at the 2024 Olympics in Paris, France, where some of the great athletes that you'll ever see are performing, men and women. So really do appreciate the fact that unlike the first Olympics in ancient Greece, it was all men. Now you have some great talented women who are also part of the Olympics, especially for the United States. And I hope that young girls can also have that dream that someday they can say, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes! And I know that there's someone out there right now comparing to be the very best they can be. And the Olympics brings that out in people. And I hope that we can have a good time watching as we're on a political season. It ends August the 11th in Paris, France. That would be the closing ceremonies. And I really do appreciate the fact that with Big C Sports, I can cover all things NFL football, NBA basketball, Major League Baseball, college football, college basketball, track and field, boxing, UFC. I love it all. to me, it's cathartic. I love being able to do it my way. What did Two Live Crew sing in the song? I did it my way. That wasn't Two Live Crew. That was Frank Sinatra. Okay, I also did it my way. Everybody can do it their way. You don't have to copy other people. Just copy your own style. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, I want the very best for the Olympic athletes. If you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start driving after they've been drinking. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone who loves you, or someone loved by somebody else. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. We need more LEADA in our life. LEADA is an acronym for love is the answer. If somebody's smacking you, only smacks you because you make me mad. Pick up the phone and call 911. If someone's kicking you, only kicks you because you made me mad. Pick up the phone and call 911. If someone's choking you out, only chokes you because you make me mad. Pick up the phone and call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And things change when the police show up. No one should ever put up with that crap. Anyone who loves you, they don't hit you, they don't kick you, they don't beat you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always say, I love paying homage to these great men back in the day and women back in the day from my family, my beautiful family. Legacy on my mama's side. My great-grandparents called them Mama and Pop. Pop was a Negro League baseball player, and Mama was one of the greatest great-grandmothers in the universe. Always saying, boy, get your hands out of that refrigerator without washing your hands. Wash your hands, baby. You know you got to wash those hands before you get in the refrigerator. Well, you know, I already washed my hands this morning when I got up, Grandma. But it's nighttime now, baby. Wash your hands. All fair and love. Always wash your hands. And then my beautiful grandmother, Madia, and grandfather Hezekiah, they were seers. They can oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coaching all boys, the Little League baseball team, to the championship of the universe. Always saying, rise and shine, the best person I ever met in my life. Mama, you know my prayers. I'm always praying. As you always say, Mama, baby, just pray. I'm going to pray with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then on my father's side, my parents, Albert Curry and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They had 3 churches. They also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, and they owned 40 acres of land. It was like one time about 10 o'clock at night, I was walking through the hallway in Oakland, and the house was dark. I felt someone touch me in my forehead. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "Whoa, what are you doing, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "Cookies are baby crap. What I'm doing, Grandma, I'm going to get my reparations." And some cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long wait. I love my grandparents. She said there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now I'm on 29 podcast platforms, streaming on 4 TV platforms. Love my grandparents with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always saying, develop your mind to its highest extent. I love my daddy with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful brother, Todd, with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always saying, go forward. A voracious reader, he would say, don't look back because you don't have much backside back there. I said, I love my backside, Todd. He said my backside wasn't big enough, but I said it was big enough. That's my story. Not only was Todd a voracious reader, we love Malcolm X, but one of our favorite movies was Pulp Fiction. In the scene, like a lot of the Olympic athletes are going to hear tonight, it was with Ben Rames and Bruce Willis. It also had Sam Jackson and John Travolta. But before the big fight had Ben Rames tell Bruce Willis, come here, boy, take this bag of money. He said, your butt goes down in the 5th round. Say that, flip. And Bruce Willis said, okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round. He said, that stinking sensation you feeling? Well, that's just pride. Flipping with you. The same thing a lot of Olympic athletes will hear at the Olympics. He said, flip pride. He said, pride only hurts. It never helps. He said boxing is filled with a lot of unrealistic muddly bluckers who think their butt gets better with time like fine wine, but it don't. In terms of vinegar, then it do. He said, take this money, you're going to thank Uncle Marsalis someday. When you're chilling in the Caribbean, you're going to say Uncle Marsalis was right. But we know Bruce Willis didn't take the dive, and he lost his LA privileges. If that makes sense to you. Todd, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate with 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy helped me set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They normally would go to ESPN, but because of 2 black men in the crew, they started doing their thing on the Wall Street Business Network. Daisy, you can be anything you want to be. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17. You can be anything you want to be. Always know that. I'm so proud of you. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, and you're like a good man. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and look up stats for Big C Sports Podcast. One day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. And then one day Malcolm said, now I'm on 29 podcast platforms. One day Malcolm said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And shortly after that, you can find us streaming Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you ever prosper. You can be anything you want to be. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Say, let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. FB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-bit teleprompters. But what I do have is this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients called it the third eye. And they say that's what you use to talk to God. And God, you know me. You hear my praise. All I do is praise, praise, praise. I praise, praise, praise for all my health, wealth, and wisdom. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to pay homage to this show by championing Muhammad Ali. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. There was no fighter greater than Muhammad Ali. Well, as I always do on this show, I pay homage to the inimitable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and President Abraham Lincoln. And this is what I want you to know they said. And they said it with all their heart, mind, body, and soul. Reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. Say it 2 more times. Reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. Say it like you just won the gold. Reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.